man who would become Marilyn Manson was born Brian Warner on January the 5th, 1969 in Canton, Ohio, an all-American town just outside Cleveland. The town the young Manson grew up in is a deeply religious and conservative community, and his schooling was to be no different. Attending Heritage Christian School in southwest Canton, he was taught the dogma and theology he would dramatically reject and criticize in later life. However, few places from his childhood have been treated with such significance as his grandfather's cellar.
Everybody's heard a lot of the stories about the experiences I had with my strange grandfather, which is just a strange character who, and I call him a character because he doesn't seem like a real person in some ways, but he had this large collection of really deviant pornography that he kept in the basement, and he would turn these trains on, and we'd think he would be playing with his trains, but he was actually doing a lot of really sick things, and this was something I discovered when I was about 12, and it was something that I became really fascinated with, and it was a weird introduction for me into, everything. It was kind of a loss of innocence, and it was a realization that a lot of things that are thought to be pure weren't at all.
In 1988, when Manson was 18, his father, Hugh, got a new job as a furniture salesman in Fort Lauderdale, just outside Miami. The Warners left Canton, and it was to be from the sunny beaches of South Florida that the future Antichrist superstar would emerge.
In the early 90s, Fort Lauderdale was very much like a party town. If you ever watched those old spring break movies, that's what it was about. The topless girls on the beach, the wet t-shirt contest, very flashy, very palm tree, very sunny.
So it was that party crowd and spring break mixed with all the people who came down to die. So that's what Fort Lauderdale was known for at the time. It was the retirement place, and so it was a kind of a contradiction that was going on.
Enrolling in Browood Community College, Manson began studying journalism and drama, and simultaneously started writing for local music magazines, a pursuit that would become vital research for his later career.
I don't really know how we ended up in college together. We just, I guess we both decided to go, and we really took the same courses. We took drama, which was kind of weird for both of us because that was the first time we were taking that, but I think it worked for both of us being on stage, and he wasn't actually involved in music at the time, but it was still just I guess a way to get through college and be creative, and we took creative writing, which helped both of our writing as far as him being a journalist and me being a musician.
I'd have to say that the first time that I met Brian was probably at an editorial meeting for 25th Parallel, which was an arts and entertainment lifestyle-oriented, rather eclectic magazine published here in South Florida. And he was the music editor and I was a contributing writer. The questions that he asked and the slants that he used for his articles were not your normal fodder, how did your band get your name kind of stuff. It was much more the questions were elegantly posed. They were much more thoughtful. I believe that his articles seemed to provoke an introspective response from whoever he was interviewing.
Brian just started interviewing bands, mostly alternative bands. I remember him doing Front 242, Thrill Kill Call, which terrified him. A couple other bands. He used to go down to Miami. We used to interview him, and I would always go with him on the interviews, and he'd come out and tell me about them. And little did I know at the time that he was collecting all this data in his mind and saying, okay, this is working for this band, this is working for this band. If I put this together and I do a band, it's got to work. And really, it's like when you look at what he's done, you could see all these influences, all these bands that, a lot of them that he did interview, and, he kept that all in his mind and made it work for him.
Opening up an avenue for bringing out his art through writing first about the music, and then sort of being able to say, you know what, I can probably do this. I could take the things that I'm writing and set it to music, and I don't have to be Luciano Pavarotti with a voice to be able to put my art out.